Would you like to support Cubs Out Loud? One way is to join us over on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, patrons get early access to our shows, the pre- and post-show, and various other rewards. You can learn more at patreon.com/CubsOutLoud. Thanks to all our patrons for their support in making this podcast. It's Sunday, December 29th, 2024. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I don't brew the tea, I just serve it.
And that makes me Gary.
Everyone else is thinking it, and I just say it.
And welcome to Cubs Out Loud, the rare podcast of indeterminate length, episode number 768. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and gentle them. It is the end. It is the time to look back on the year of 2024.
I don't know.
I don't have any dramatic music to go along with that, but here we are.
That's okay.
That's okay. Just now when you said I don't have any dramatic music, I'm like, I'm not really sure you want like a dun dun dun.
No, I mean like a boom, 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 boom,
Oh,
or something
like
that.
a 2001 Olympic fanfare, John Williams, majestic kind of announcement.
Oh,
That's fair. So, yeah, the year's come to an end. We are but hours away from the end of 2024 because as we were recording this, we are a little bit more than 2 days out from the end of this year.
End of the
so
year
just thought we'd talk-
as we know it.
That part, not soon enough. But we'll get into that. No, but I just thought we would take some time to reflect on the year and just talk in general about, what's happened. I mean, in a broader sense, I know that we had job changes, relocations, there was travel. In some ways, 2024 is probably the most back to the pre-global thing that happened of the years that we've had. But I was also wondering, is there anything that's truly memorable, or will we, in a few years from now, look back and be like, I can't really remember what happened in 2024? Will it just blur together? Will there not be significance?
Herm.
I mean, I will say for me, I don't feel like there was anything revolutionary or pivotal other than one very specific thing.
That's fair.
And that was that I became president of our union. And that basically became another job. Although it is volunteer and I do not get paid for it. So, yeah, that took up a significant amount of my time this year. And still does, still will. I was nominated and I agreed, and therefore elected by acclamation automatically to be president again. So, yeah, that's a new high percentage of a portion of my life thing. But other than that, I think this year was very kind of laid back, low key for me.
Strangely enough, I think I'm the one with the second most things happening to them. I might be. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, of the life event stuff, Jeff, I think you took the lead.
I mean, that's very true.
True.
Kind of took a
And
major.
the life event category, I need to make sure that I'm marking that down on my taxes. I started the year in Texas and now I'm in Ohio. Much better. Much better. Also kind of much worse. It's like this weird, like, ups and downs thing. Because there's something about, and I've been here less than a year, so this is first initial impressions to be possibly changed in the future or not. There's something about Austin that was just charming, special, different. I do have a longer drive to work. I now actually have to go on a highway to do it. I now can have real inclement weather instead of faux inclement weather.
It's been very windy today and rainy today. That has been a thing. I don't know.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
I'm sure it's nothing new, but I'm just explaining as someone who has had to deal with a wind damaged roof twice since they bought this fucking house.
Okay, that's fair. There is a wind advisory in effect, says my computer.
Nerve hit.
But I mean, like,
I think, Jeff, you're learning to acclimate back to seasons.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, you will go through 4 of them.
It got below 0. Like, I mean, we've already hit within this past week 2 or 3 seasons.
Welcome to Ohio.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, welcome to the Northeast, baby. Like as I speak, it is 55 outside. I want to remind everybody that just a couple weeks ago, there was 5 feet of snow outside my door. So like, there is still snow on the ground that has not melted. I predict when New Year's rings in, there will still be snow locally that has not melted from that snowstorm, despite the weather and the rain.
But you're a little further north and you have a lake effect. So slightly different. Nope, I didn't say completely different. I said slightly.
No, but you're not wrong. Like, the reason why I'm laughing is because I'm like, when you said that you had like 3 of the seasons in the past week, I'm like, yep. Like that's
2 or 3. Yeah.
That's just the,
like,
thing up here.
Like today, it's gotten up to 60 degrees.
Ooh, heat wave.
I will tell you this. The lowest high is the low high during a year in Texas was like 70s, maybe high 60s. It hasn't been in the 60s for at least a month until like this past week. And of course, we're getting by New Year's, it's going down to more of the freezing temperatures.
Yep. Oh boy.
So what I'm hearing is, in 2025, you're going to be investing in a new wardrobe.
No. My wardrobe's fine. I'm Minnesotan. Go Gophers. By the way,
right, but you lived in Texas long enough. I would think you wouldn't have many like cold weather clothes necessarily.
Do you think I would ever get rid of my cold weather clothes? Jeez.
Well, that was quite a number of years ago.
Yeah, I'm just as fat as I was.
Well, all right. Because I was just going to say, like, in the time I have lived here, my body has expanded and shrunk, and it's expanded and shrunk and expanded. Anyways, so I have varying sizes of clothes. Like, recently I was like, oh, if I lose more weight, will I have to buy clothes? And then, of course, I was looking at my closet. I was like, you idiot. Like you'll be fine.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to stay around the same size. Yes, I did have a bunch of clothes that were too small on me, but in general, because I like looser fitting, maybe a size or 2 larger than I actually need clothes, that in the end, it doesn't really affect me.
Right.
Got it.
So to your point about like it being up and down, I will say that yes, I agree. Austin has a charm. Austin is also like a jewel within the state of Texas. Like
true.
it is an island culture entity of its own, and that is not necessarily how I would describe Cincinnati.
I
Queen
will.
City?
I will say.
Dare you?
I will say I haven't really done much of any exploring, mainly because I don't feel like it. Because in my day to day, all I need to know: where's the grocery store, where's the gas stations, nearby gas stations, and I've got at least 3 go-tos. I know 2 targets, one near work, one near home. In fact, I know grocery stores on both ends of the spectrum too. So if I'm like, hey, want to get something on the way home from work, I can either go to the grocery store, then go home, or go towards home, go a little bit past it to get to my grocery store and then come back. Or what do I want to do? Like, what's the route? Where do I want to go? But I know where those things are. And that's the important parts to me. So it's because I'm not someone who really has the compulsion to leave his apartment, unless it's for something specific. I haven't had the chance to really do much exploring. I haven't really felt like it. And that's probably one of the reasons why I feel less charmful. I suppose that might be. But also, I think part of it is the fact that I just quickly pop onto a highway, drive down, and pop off the highway to get to work. I don't have to go through. I'm not on a city streets per se that much of the time on my work route. Well, down in Austin, I never even got on the highway, which maybe got me a little bit more exposure to a few things that were along the street, shops and that sort of things. I don't know. There's just something. Cincinnati hasn't grown on me. I like it well enough for living purposes, but it's like, eh.
I mean, to be fair, you've been here
I like the weather better.
half a year.
May, so a little over half a year.
Right. I think that's fair. I mean, it does take time to acclimate to things. And to your point, if you're not really engaged in doing other things, then you may not necessarily, have much of an experience in doing that.
Well, and one thing
or seeing other things.
One thing that could change, now that I've kind of settled in and everything here, is I'm a fan of going to see baseball in a off-wide sense. So maybe next summer, well, I was here during the summer this year, so I could have done it. I could go to a Reds game. Maybe one where the Twins are playing, so I can wear all my Twins gear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything.
Living life on the edge there, baby.
You do that. You go right ahead and do that.
I think it'll be fun because you'll be like, no, I live here.
No, you'll be fine.
No, I would literally just tell everybody, hey, I'm from Minnesota. Because it's not a lie.
Because it's not like Ohio has opinions about out-of-state rivalries or anything.
Well,
Anyway.
I don't think the Reds really have a rivalry with the Twins at all.
No,
No.
not really. Not that I know of. But again, what do I
To be
know?
fair, we're not talking college football, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh boy, is that true?
I think you might not understand baseball patrons. Usually they don't really care that much. Maybe they'll do some cat calling or nagging, like just the fun, sociable sort of thing. thinking, you're losing or something. I don't know. I'm not very good at the smack talk. But in the end, everyone's sportsmanlike. Baseball fans aren't as rough and rowdy as some other sports.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, Damon, in looking back over your year and surprising yourself with what you were finding, what do you think? Like, memorable? Kind of? Maybe not?
I mean, pretty memorable. Yeah, I would say pretty memorable. I did a lot of stuff. I have a list. You can't see it because of filter.
Yeah, this is not surprising.
Yeah,
This is
but
you
yeah.
are the social butterfly.
It's not it's not surprising that he has a list, or that he did things.
Both. Both.
That's fair. Yeah, but like I was kind of quickly, and if patrons you heard that, I was kind of going through the year and like looking at every month and kind of thinking of things that are like highlights or what have you of the year. And like one of the biggest ones, well, a few of the biggest ones, I would say. The big one I'll put at the top of the list is I went on my honeymoon with Jim. So,
Oh, that's right. That did happen this year.
Yeah. So, we did our honeymoon was part-time in Las Vegas, part-time in Puerto Vallarta. It was my first trip to Mexico ever. So that's kind of cool. I think the highest of the heights for me was that getting to get away for almost a week, 10 days. I think it was 10 days over total. And just enjoying that time. That was really nice. The other parts of it have a lot to do with the fact that I was a title holder for half of the year, more than half of the year, actually. I got to go to North American Bear Weekend for the first time as a title holder. Got to go to World Bear as the first time as a title holder. Got to do events after stepping aside from the title, judging a couple of contests. Those are kind of on this list. And the third kind of big part of it is related to Onyx. I took the associate liaison position, which came with it joining the board and helping guide several new members, I think a dozen or so new associate members through the process and getting them acclimated into becoming associate members of the Great Lakes Onyx chapter. Working through all of that has been kind of a memorable experience for me. Yeah. And then I think sort of the fourth part, just I've been the CMC membership VP. I think this was my second full year. I want to think. I think. Yeah. Anyway, that's always weird because I don't remember when I joined. Because I've been doing this forever. But got to do some things with that have been really good. And memorable for sure. So like I'm looking down at my list and I'm like, yeah, those are things. Those are great things. We remodeled our bathroom. Looks amazing. Upstairs bathroom looks gorgeous.
That's true. Yes.
I am. Every time I walk in it now, I'm just like, oh gosh, it's so great. So glad we did this. I don't want to do it again. Well, let me rephrase. We will do it again, but it's not going to be. It'll be the one down here, and it'll be a while because it's a lot. But at least then we would have a um, having two fully functioning bathrooms is great.
Was that the only significant house item this year?
Yes, because the roof was 23. Did that last year. Yeah. That was the other memorable thing. Not really memorable, but um, this was a year where we lost our original home insurance because I had too many claims, hence my concerns about wind and weather. So yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody. Story time. So back in April or May, I want to say. No, March. Um, I got a letter from our insurance company saying, hey, we will not be renewing after this year. After our contract technically is in May. It ends in May.
Mm.
We will not be renewing, and the reason for non-renewal was you have too many. You've had too many claims, and it reported like the three claims. So the um, roof in 2020, and then the bathroom in 2022, the leak, the frozen pipes leak kind of thing that happened, 2022, and then the second roof issue in 2023. And so couldn't get, so the insurance would not renew. I did get insurance. It is much more expensive because I have three strikes essentially. That's the thing for now. So next year, 2025, the one from 2020 is 5 years late and it'll drop off. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, knock on fucking wood, probably in May of 2025, we will be hopefully changing insurance companies.
Again.
Yeah. Because one of the claims will fall off of the 5-year tenure. That's what a couple of the insurance people I talked to were discussing. Like, give it that 5-year and then you should be okay to try and reapply. But there were some when I was applying online that wouldn't even let me get through it because they're just like, nope, we're denying. We're not even going to give you a chance. Yeah, it's a thing. Hey, y'all, home ownership, it's the shit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess like your claims to me are much different in scale than like people who live in natural disaster zones. So like people who have flooding or earthquakes or I don't know, big storms or something that I would think of. Like you hear stories about how like people in Florida are finding it much, much harder to get coverage. And so that's why I was surprised to hear you say that they were like, yeah, we're not going to cover you anymore. And I'm like, what? Like, okay.
I actually just realized I had it here. I had a little letter here. I got it in April. I didn't get it in March. I thought I got it in April. I thought I got it in March, but I actually got it in April. Just as after careful consideration, we have concluded that we will not be able to renew your homeowner's insurance policy. Coverage will end at 12:01 a.m. Standard Time on May 15, 2024. And then it gives the following, while we regret this decision, you don't regret it. Feel it's necessary for the following reason, and then it mentions the wind losses that we had, and then the water loss in 2022. So yeah.
AKA, you cost us too much money.
Basically.
Hence, we're getting out of the business with you.
Yep. That's pretty much what it was.
Fuckers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. it's a thing that happens, and I understand it. It does suck. I wish they had given maybe a little bit more warning than a month, but you know, I worked it out again. I had to go. I technically went through the insurance company to find the new insurance company eventually.
Mm. Yeah.
But again,
I think
it's going to always be a thing. If you're a homeowner, these are things you'll probably have to deal with. So I'm going to say it is what it is, but it is what it is. We're fine now.
Yeah, I think that this is the experience of my adult life. Is it takes more to get things accomplished as an adult than the older you get than it did when you were younger, and a big factor of that is cost, like economy of scale, but also like inflation and just like the value of the dollar and all that kind of stuff like compounds into things. So like when I last December got my new quote unquote car, I was not prepared for the cost in terms of like what the scale of economy is and like what vehicles cost these days and blah 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 blah. Like, to be fair, I'd had my previous car for 12 years.
Yeah.
So I was completely out of the loop. Like, I knew there was a lot of new bells and whistles. I also didn't realize that a lot of those bells and whistles are pretty damn pricey, and therefore increase the cost of a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's been one of the things that did happen for me in 2024 was adjusting to going back and having a sizable car payment for the year. Like, there's a part of me that's like, had I not had this car payment, I wouldn't have spent thousands of dollars, basically. But on the other side of it, it's like, yeah, but if I'd kept my other vehicle in it and put the money into it, who knows what more costs would have come.
Right.
Even though the vehicle was quote unquote simpler, because it didn't have as many like features or amenities.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking about that recently, like whether or not the decision in the vehicle that I'm with is good or not. Because there's a part of me that's like, how practical is it? In terms of like, because size is a factor for cost. It also affects the fuel, like the mileage, different things of that nature. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't live in a geographic area where transportation is reliable in terms of like provided by where I live. So I mean, we do have a bus system.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's also not disastrous, but you know, it's not like living in other cities where it runs like 20 hours a day or 24 hours a day or whatever, you know, and like you have it as reliability and different things of that nature. So yeah, I don't know. Like, those are all factors to take in.
One of the things I did write down that I thought I'm surprised. I remember we had a total eclipse this year.
We did back in April.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday the 9th, I believe.
Yes. It's funny for me because as I was kind of going through my calendar, I remember it distinctly because I was having our our security system was getting upgraded that day. And the guy that was doing our security upgrade was also very interested and invested in like seeing and experiencing the the eclipse, but he was here at about the same time it was happening. So like I mean we spent a few like several times just like standing on the porch. I mean, he was waiting for things to load and he was doing his job, don't get me wrong, like he wasn't like just like sitting and staring and doing nothing, but he was actually like we would stop. I was working too that day and just like we just take a moment. I had the glasses, which I think I have No, I mailed them out. I mailed them out. Um, but just like just taking some moments and looking at the eclipse. We weren't in totality, but it was kind of awesome being where we were and seeing. I remember how dark it got. I thought that was really kind of awesome. Jeff, we can't hear you.
That's why all my jokes weren't going through. I asked if he had to turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely.
Lord.
Oh.
Okay. Now explains why the jokes were working.
So I was going to ask you though, Jeff, like where were you when the eclipse happened? Like, had you moved yet?
When was it? I don't even remember it.
April 9th.
Well, when did you start working
April
in
9th?
Cincinnati?
Yeah, I moved in May.
Okay, so you were down in Texas still at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The eclipse was very low on my list. I didn't care. Everybody who did care, good for them. I couldn't give a damn.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, but I'm an astronomy kind of person. That has always been my thing. So
yeah. I would say if you're into it, it was kind of a big deal. I remember it specifically because it had impacts on us at work. Because we were in the path of totality, it affected my city. Like there was a prediction that our general population was gonna, I think, quadruple to like sextuple. Like it was gonna be 4 to 6 times the influx. It was insane, like the predictive models. And so like a lot of businesses were announcing they weren't going to be open, and like the city, like government announced they were going to be closed for the day. Not the county though. We're still going to be open. So anyways, there was a whole kerfuffle, like big aspect of that I was trying to deal with. So that's why I remember it specifically. And it was interesting to experience. Like, I mean, I can now say like I've had that experience within my lifetime.
Yeah.
I've also I've experienced the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. So that's another kind of phenomena, like natural occurring thing, that I have experienced that I would definitely love to have again. And that one, there's a lot more frequency to it, so that's much more possible. Although after this experience, there's a number of people I know that were like very much like, oh my God, that was amazing. And now they're like eclipse chasers or wannabe eclipse chasers because they want to like go to the next one wherever it's at. So I'm like, okay, it's not necessarily, that didn't move me that much, you know?
Yeah.
I guess is the way I feel about it.
I'm of the similar ilk. I'm like, oh, cool. Great that it happened. I'm happy it happened. I'm glad I got to experience it. But I'm not traveling hundreds or even thousands of miles to like thousands or even hundreds of miles to like go find and chase the next one. If I happen to be in a path, great. If I can see it, even if it's not a full one from where I am, that's fine. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think that's
a thing that'll happen. Yeah.
Anything of note that happened within the year, like not necessarily directly our lives, but like you think will be something that looks back on or like is a milestone moment? I mean, I think there's obviously one very specific event.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like that's the thing that's coming to mind. Like when you were first talking, and then you mentioned like, "Oh yeah, you became the president." I was like, "Oh, that's what you mean. You meant personally."
Yes, I actually meant like for the beginning of this discussion, or the most part, is just our personal lives, not so much like, you know, the broader scope.
I think I know we talked about it a lot in COL762, our historic 2024 election. Go watch it now. But that's sort of, I feel like that will be something that will be talked about for a while, or at least the next 4 years, for sure, for good and bad, especially the bad, I think. But yeah, I think for us as Americans in the United States, that's kind of a big deal. And I think for well, the two of us, we live in
Especially
Ohio and
as
Pennsylvania.
LGBT Americans.
Yeah, also that.
Well, I mean, I think that is one of the things that people are taking account of, is like the personal impact of stuff. Like I've seen some social media memes. I don't know how true it is, because I think there's a lot of projecting still happening at this point, because we haven't officially entered the new administration. You know, where people are saying, quote unquote, that individuals are regretting their decision for voting. And I'm like, and I guess to me, I'm like, well, are they? Or are we just like imagining that they are? Or are we predicting that they will be? So that's a thing. I think that,
I think there
remains yet to be seen.
I think there may be a combination where it's some people were getting caught up in the spectacle that they didn't really think to necessarily ask the right questions, or they didn't get the right information, or they didn't even bother to get the right information,
or they didn't care.
Yeah. And then when somebody actually comes to them and explains situations, they're like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't realize that. Oh shit. And I also don't think that it's necessarily as big of the voter population where that is actually affecting. It's just media is bringing that to the forefront, because that's the news of the day.
Right. I think the country has the potential to have a reckoning with consequences for actions.
Right.
And there's a part of me that's like, maybe some of us are old enough to have been around, so we can see the potential of what's going to happen. Because we have this thing called lived lives. Like we have experiences, we have knowledge, we actually look to the past to try to determine a future. So it's a very different perspective than I think other individuals who may not have that, or I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say be capable of that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of catastrophizing.
So, well, I mean, I think the emotional interpretation or output, whatever you want to call it, I think it's all valid. But I do agree that, like, I think some people are kind of taking things to an extreme of the imagination. I don't know if extreme's right, because it doesn't seem like they're really taking it a certain way. And I'm much more pragmatically like, I will wait and see.
Right. There was obviously a lot of hurt, confusion, and reality kind of hitting when it all went down in November. And we're still, I think, even, a month or so later, we're still kind of reeling as a country from that. It's the thing to talk about. Like, that's why I think it's definitely a very memorable, situation, in that we will still, I think, for the next, few months, if not the next year in 2025, especially, be dealing with that. We are seeing a lot of things, and I think predictions are one thing. I think people are thinking about the scenarios and looking at what's going on, and making those predictions based on what, again, maybe historical facts, maybe some I don't want to use catastrophizing, but some worst case scenario isms, if that's a thing. Um, but I think there are a lot of people that want to be prepared for the worst. So you have to think about, what is the worst, and how can I prepare myself for that? Now, some of those people are getting, especially in this world of social media, they have platforms that they can talk about their feelings and issues, and provide their moment or soapbox, whatever you want to call it. Um, and that may be how they get that information across. Again, what happens from that is what, people grab from it or draw from it. And I know, for me personally, especially seeing the following day with the chorus and everything, like some of the people that were there and how people were dealing with it, that gave me my reality check, as it were. It was awful, and it has the potential to be, we can go down that route, the worst case scenario route. But the thing I remember saying to one of the younger members, who was distraught in a way, was that we've been through this before, we'll get through it again, especially if we do it together as a community. Like, that's the thing I want to understand. I want people to understand, often in this, is that this is now more than ever, is when you need community around you, whatever that community may be. It was one of our flashpoints during Kentucky Leather. It was one of our things with the chorus. We throughout the last couple of month or so, and it's something that we're hopefully going to be continuing to do, because I think it is important. But I think everyone's going to have their reaction to this, and it's what you do with that reaction.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that I would say the year, personally, for me, my year, the good outweighed the bad tremendously. Like, if I were putting all the good and bad things in, like, weighting them down and all that stuff, I would say the good outweighed the bad. Were there pretty bad things? Yes, absolutely. That's the way it is. Now, I think, and if you had a really amazing year, great on you. But I don't think it was all like sunshine and roses and flowers and happy kittens. Like, it wasn't all of that.
Right. No, I think that's fair. I think, yeah, like, everyone has very different perspectives about what their experience was in the course of the year. Some people, had really great experiences. Some people did not have, positive experiences. So yeah, I don't know. Like we will see what the new year brings with it. It's interesting because I always think about this. Like I see all this stuff about like, oh, I'm looking so forward to having a new year and blah blah blah. And I just find the psychology of that really intriguing. Like probably from like a societal, maybe anthropological perspective about how we have this, I don't know, mindset, this perception of shift when there's really nothing unique. It's kind of arbitrary. Like we created the calendar. We determine when a year starts and when a year ends. You know, like you could do it on a solstice if you wanted to. I mean, like, or you could do it, you know, on a, you know, the day that the sun is like, you know, the longest of the year. I don't know. Like, so to me, I feel like, I don't know. I don't like using the word arbitrary, and I know I just said that, but I'm just like, like it's a day. You know, I mean, it is what we give value to it, and to be fair, that's true of everything.
True.
So, yeah.
Like, I think a long time ago, I stopped making resolutions.
What?
A long
A
time
galaxy
ago.
far, far away.
Oh, I didn't hear what Jeff said. I just wrong franchise.
I know.
Like, really, David? Really?
Yep.
You're gonna stir that pot? Okay.
What I'm gonna do. Anyway, let's do that. Ha 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 ha.
I don't remember you saying brat was on your list of things this year. If you had a daddy or a dom that you were under at this moment, I would have been like, clip and send.
Go ahead. But
I'm gonna tell Santa on you.
And
yeah, I know you sleep with him. It doesn't matter anyways. Why you think he never on the naughty list?
Who said he's not?
Oh no.
Anyway.
He's on the good list.
Uh-huh.
Because he puts out, but anyways.
Terrible. Terrible. I don't even know what I was talking about. But yeah. Oh, I don't make resolutions anymore. That was one of the things that was what we're trying to say. Like I used to, and then I very quickly found that I wasn't following them, or I would try so hard to do something that it took away from anything and everything else. So I like the idea of a new year being a bit of a renewal, but I also don't consider it as much as I used to. I think for me, it's the calendar and the year just turns. And is it a big deal? In a way, yes, because it's yet another year, another time where your life has cycled through and you've made it through another year. Like that's, I think, something to, you know, think about and celebrate if you see fit. But oftentimes, especially in recent years, thinking of ways to improve and better and whatever myself has not been like manageable or realistic. I think like I wrote it down at the end of this sort of list. I'm kind of this is the end of my second year in weight loss journey. Like starting in January, I started in 2022, and wrong. 2023 is when I started. I was like, nope, math wrong.
I think the math isn't quite right.
No, yeah, exactly. It was 2023 that I kind of started this journey in a weight management program, doing all of the things, and I've been doing really well, especially recently. So I'm kind of happy about that. And I actually have an appointment right after the first of the year with the weight management doctor, the team there, to kind of see progress, and things might be changing, which will be good. Hoping I'm hoping so. Am I where I want it to be? No, but um, I'm happy with where I'm at. Um, because there has been for what I've seen anyway, a pretty steady decline.
Mhm.
I'm sure if I did more things, it would probably be more of more declination, but
Right.
it is what it is. Um, yeah.
No, I hear you on that. I mean, I started mine as well in uh wow. Yeah, 23, fall of 23. And then um I've been kind of mulling over about where things are, you know.
Hmm.
I have less weight. I do feel healthier, feel better like you. It's not what I want it to be, where I want it to be, and yet at the same time, you know, I kind of feel like I need to make some decisions about like what I'm willing to do or wanting to do and what that means. Because there's options available on the table, and I just have to make decisions about what I want to do about that,
Right.
and where to go. So, yeah. Jeff, we can't hear you.
It's because I'm not saying anything. I'm just mouthing and like locking my lips. I'm not saying a thing.
Right. But I was like, if you're actually trying to talk, you might be muted. So I was like, I'm not sure.
Nope.
I'm supposed to be
I'm
hearing
not muted.
anything.
I'm like, you two are on a weight loss journey. I don't need to.
So that being said, any plans for New Year's?
I need to go get some alcohol.
That's a
I
plan.
actually took a week off of work. Although I took it off starting on Boxing Day and going all the way to
Ah.
New Year. So I'll be returning to work in the New Year. So last Wednesday, yes, I did work on Christmas Day. When I left, I told everybody, see you next year.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's nice. So Jim gets done with the Santa gig because it's still happening. Um, about 8:30 ish. You should be home about 9ish. We're going to a late dinner at a place that we go to. We actually went last year, so we're going to the place again. Um, Having a dinner. Um, Hopefully, not going to be there too like past midnight. God, I hope not.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll come home and do our. We're either going to come home and do the traditional sitting on the couch watching the ball drop, or we're going to go out um, to one of the nearby bars and just celebrate around people. Um, New Year's Day, we sit our asses at home. I'm just gonna say, like,
Is New Year's Day really a holiday?
It is.
technically
Really,
It's
it's
just,
New Year's Eve, kind of rolling into New Year's Day.
But the
Is a
day
holiday,
is the
but the day,
recovery from the eve.
yeah.
there you go.
For those
That's
that party and party hard.
I mean, that's a totally fair comment, but
the day is needed. But yeah, though it's
You're
it's
not
a federal
celebrating.
holiday. Like I'm pretty sure there's hardly anything open on the 1st.
Yeah, in years past, we used to go to Columbus and go to the bars up there and then spend the night hanging out.
in the
We would
end,
go to the bathhouse.
in the
Yeah.
end, it's just
And then-
another day. It's
For
just
some it is,
when your
yeah.
day's off. It's like a Saturday for those people who get
Yeah.
weekends off.
Did I just hear someone say bathhouse?
Yeah, I used to. That's what we used to do. In
Where?
in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay.
Because I
So,
was like,
in the
last time there
past-
ain't no bathhouse in Cincinnati. So
No,
like,
there's not, because there is a no public bathing law on the books that prevents it. A little bit of Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati
wait,
history.
what?
Yeah, there is a law. on-
Bathing. So you can have pools like parks
Yeah. Yes,
with kids in swimsuits, but that's not considered bathing.
correct, because it's a pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's why there are no bathhouses in Cincinnati. There's other laws too, but that's one of the big ones. That was one of the ones that I learned when I first moved here. Why there are no bathhouses there. Anyway,
And
Second
all the
best.
men on the DL that are on sniffies and the blowers and squirt and all that stuff in Cincinnati. Anyways, not shade. Fact. Fact.
Anywho, but yes, in the past, that was something we used to do. Either we would go to Indianapolis or Columbus, and we would be out at a bar for past midnight, and then we would go to the bathhouse and then spend the 4 to 6 hours. I think is usually what it was, the max, like up there. And then depending on what we were doing, or how early or late it was, stop it. We would drive home. Now we are older, and we don't do that at all anymore. We don't do that anymore because we like our lives, and we don't want to try to stay up till 4, 5, 6 in the morning, and then try to drive our asses home. No.
What you would want to do then is make a trip out of it and go to Cleveland and go to Flex and get a hotel room in the complex. And then that way you could just stay there.
No.
Because then you could go and you could have fun and you'd be like, I'm going to bed.
Right.
You'd just go to the other part of the complex.
Go to an actual bed as opposed to
Correct.
5x5 or whatever it is.
Have you ever seen the they call them hotel rooms? I mean, it's legitimately what they are.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah. It's one of the few places that I know of that actually operates in that style. Most of them are just either lockers or the small
private, dressing rooms, essentially.
Right. I was going to say they call them private rooms. I'm like, I mean, technically, it's a room.
Yeah.
And there are a couple. There's usually just a couple of specialty rooms, but those are usually the ones that have a sling, or one wall is an entire see-through mirror or glass attached to a play space.
Yeah.
He says with imagination.
Imagination, because of course you don't actually know this.
I've never been in those rooms, so I don't know.
Oh, heaven forbid. I wanted random aside because it just brought up. I thought about when I was in Vegas. That was one of the things I thought about doing, was actually going and visiting the bathhouse. And the one we went to, years ago, when we first went to Vegas back in 2018, is no longer there. It's closed, and then a couple of others are closed. There was one I was actually interested in going to, but it had also closed. So, I did not go to one. FYI, everybody out there. The thought crossed my mind, but when you're there by yourself and you're essentially paying for transportation to and from places, the idea of going one to one by like Lyft or Uber wasn't as exciting. It did cross my mind, but I decided against it.
Well, I mean, when you also can just attract men to you, why would you bother to go anywhere?
I mean, fair.
And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, you should go back and listen to the Jingle Mingle. I think that's where that got discussed, or maybe it'll get discussed next week.
Maybe.
But that's not until next year.
Very true.
Very true.
Anything else for the good of the order today?
Nothing here. 2024. It was a year.
Here we are. Almost over.
Ta-da.
Yay.
Tipping over into the next one.
Another year, another dollar. All right. Speaking of another dollar, plenty of ways to contact us. You can pop over to our website, cubsoutloud.com. Shoot us an email at cubsoutloud@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. You can follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Cubs Out Loud, the appropriate place in the URL. You can join our entourage chat at bit.ly/telegram-COL. You can also get you can subscribe to our Google Calendar at bit.ly/calendar-COL. I skipped a line. You can also get various accoutrements, such as a mug, a shirt, a hat, a brooch.
Pterodactyl.
No, sorry.
Hat.
Yay, hot
Coming
shots.
soon to you, the COL jewelry line, exclusively via QVC and HSN, straight to your home.
mean, a cute like bear dangly earring with like our logo. I think that would be kind of fun. So, anyway,
Says the one who doesn't have pierced ears. Well, I guess you do. Shows how well I know.
oh,
I only have the right one. In any case, that's at zazzle.com/Cubs Out Loud. You can also find some of this is designed by Smashy. You can find more of his work at tpublic.com/user/Smashy the Bear. In fact, he did our latest ones of the Coalition of Connected Gangsters.
uh-huh.
You'll get it when you look at it. Any case. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/Cubs Out Loud, where you can get the NA feed and access to the unlisted YouTube video of our pre and post shows. So if you're not listening to us live, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Cubs Out Loud. Join us or you can send us a donation at paypal.me/Cubs Out Loud. Find us over on all the podcasting platforms. And please like us, rate us, review us there, as well as on YouTube to, bump us up in the algorithm. Find me anywhere on the internet as Boxhead, Box Puppy, Box Cub, Box something or other. Currently playing Zax on, what am I? Crystal and Diabolos in Final Fantasy 14. That's been my big thing this week. And David.
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter or pup_79 on Blue Sky. Those are definitely not safe for work. You can find me as DMAGamer79 on Twitter and TikTok for now. Those are safe for work. Or you can see me as TheaterCub79, that's TheaterCub79 on most related sites. Gary.
If you would like to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as GareBear73.
And with that, See you next year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.